Hey guys, so what's been happening in the hobby this week? Well, I thought we'd have a little discussion on the value of those in-between models that you paint. Some people refer to that as refreshing your palette, or cleansing your palette, or just for another way to say it, that little project that you do that revitalizes your energy for this hobby and to paint and go into painting a larger project. And you'll often hear a lot of YouTubers, painters, or hobbyists, or your mates tell you this or whatever. It's a common thing if you've never understood what it actually is, or even maybe instinctually why you do it. But it's essentially a small project, usually a little single figure like the one we're going to be painting today, that allows you to just do something in a contained way that is a finishable project. That's very important, but we'll go into that in a second. But it's just one of those little projects that helps you sort of reset yourself up, usually coming off the back of a large project. And I thought we'd have a little bit of a discussion. So while we're doing that, I'll be painting up this Wight Lord here on foot, and doing him in my color scheme. You'll see other videos on the channel with this color scheme. I'm using blues and greens for the cloak, blacks, and so on. Very classic sort of undead colors, and I'll go through and do some sped up footage here for you while we chat about it. At the end we'll have a closer look at this figure and some of my closing thoughts and an overview and so on. So yeah, I thought this would be really fun, so let's get started. Okay, so what is a small project that refreshes your palette? Well, you're looking for something that is a completable project, so a completable miniature, something that's not going to take a long time. So you really ultimately you want it to be something that is completed within a couple of days. You don't want this to be something that goes on for a long extended period of time. So that's one element of one of these refreshing your palette idea, one of these refreshing your palette miniatures, is that it should be something that is completable in a short space of time. And really, to get the most out of this, you do need to actually complete it. So that's the first part of it. The second part is then that dictates the size of the model. So you're not looking to do like a dragon or something. That's not the kind of model that you want to pick. So it's going to be a small model, a small individual model that you can complete in a couple of days, usually like a human size figure or something like that. So it's not going to be a large figure, it's going to be small, and generally speaking it's going to most likely encompass often comfort palettes, so colors that you're used to, something that you don't really need to overly challenge yourself with this particular miniature. You can, but you don't want it to be something that is really rigorous. It's got to be a nice, pleasurable experience, and so you're looking for a miniature that you can get away with, like you're seeing me paint this Wight. The color scheme is relatively simple, but it's using techniques that I enjoy, right? So that's the other thing, that the miniature should have something about it that is inherently pleasing to you from a painting point of view. So they're the first initial kind of choices that you want when you're looking at picking a model for this particular idea to sort of revitalize your energies for painting. You need to have something that is finishable within a few days, or even in a day, or whatever you want to do. Small miniature that uses colors that you like and that you enjoy doing, processes that you like and enjoy doing. It can have an optional kind of technique you're trying, but should be in its nature exploratory and fun. It shouldn't have any kind of sort of stress related to this. And then also you want it to be something that, this is probably the key thing with this, is that this model isn't for anything. It can be, like this Wight. I mean, I collect undead, I'll probably end up using it at some point in an army list, but this isn't actually going in any army list that I'm running right now. So this model has no purpose other than to paint it. That's a really crucial part of this type of palette cleansing idea, is that you want it to be painting for painting's sake. That's the whole goal of this. If you start adding a lot of other requirements on top of this model, that you need it for something, or you're doing it for a tournament, or whatever, you're going to slowly lose sight of the enjoyment of this particular little idea and project and exercise. You won't get the full effect of that endorphin hit and so much we'll talk about in a second, but this is needs to be something that is only for painting. So you choose something that isn't you know, maybe it is adding to your collection, as this is the one that I'm painting, but you know, it's not going to be right now. So you're just painting it for fun, that's it. And you know, that's really the crucial element to all of it, is that it shouldn't have any other purpose, so, or you know, any other immediate purpose, right? So they're the initial sort of, I guess, you know, I would say best practices, not rules, best practices. You know, anything can be anything. This is art and creativity. You can bend and warp all of this stuff to suit your needs. You shouldn't be taking all this as, you know, doctrine or whatever. This is just one artist's opinion on this particular practice, and you can take or leave how much of it or all of it as you like. You know what I mean? That's part of these chats and these discussions, is for you to stimulate your mind and get you thinking about different types of ideas within our hobby, you know, miniature painting and so on, and incorporate whatever you like and throw away whatever you don't need. And that's really the ultimate goal here. So we've got those initial rules down, right? So we've picked our model, we've got this happening, we've picked some colors that we love and that we want to process, we want to use. We know we can complete this in a short amount of time. So now you're setting aside that time in order to do it, right? So you would have come off the back of a bigger project normally, or you might be in a slump. You might be, you know, in the middle of a project and it's just really not doing it for you. So this is kind of like a bit of medicine. Think of this kind of this process of painting this refresher model as a sort of medicine for your hobby. So if you're feeling out of it, or you're not really into it, this will get you revitalized. And the very crucial reason for this is that you will finish it. And when you complete something, you get that sense of satisfaction, and you will get endorphin hit. You will literally have a chemical reaction inside your body that will give you a pleasing feeling. And this can help kickstart. It won't necessarily do it, but it will certainly give you a stronger sense of completionism, of work ethic. It might get you back into some routines that you've maybe let slip. There's many reasons why doing this either mid-project or at the end can really help you out. And I think that's where it comes in really valuable, which is why I often do it. I'll have I talk about this, the fast and the slow with techniques. That's one of the other hobby talks that I've done, and so on. And I talk about that regularly, is modulating the way in which you create, the way in which you paint, and so on. You don't want to always be doing laborious, long, extensive work. You want to be doing the fast work as well, and also the comfort work, the things that you're used to as well, so that you're not always in the inky blackness of you know, learning and education and creativity. You want to come back a bit into a more known space. And so you know, that's really the ultimate here, is that it's going to get you up and going again, or hopefully should, right? So we're moving into that space. So then, okay, so we're painting this model, we're getting it done. And so also then the next thing to consider, I guess, is finally is your hobby space, or when you're doing it, and so on. So you don't want to sabotage yourself with this experience by, let's say, you know, doing it like half an hour at a time or whatever. This project needs to be done kind of in a few hits, in sort of an extended amount of time. So you're going to be taking some time for yourself. This is kind of a selfish moment, right? So you're choosing to set aside time in your life to do this particular miniature. Now you need at least, I would say, at least a 2 or 3 hour block per session to get this miniature done. I would say any shorter time, and I don't think that it's going to be as useful, because what you want to do is get into that zone. You know, you want to be just sitting with the miniature and enjoying the process. So you need to have at least a 2 hour block, or maybe a little more, or even a whole day, whatever you can get away with in your life, but try to set aside some substantial time, because you might not even be painting that time. This is you just sitting at the desk. There shouldn't be anyone interrupting you. There shouldn't be anything going on. Put your phone aside, put some music on, you know, get the ambience going, you know, set this time aside like you would when you were a kid. This is really evoking the nature of your initial experience with this hobby. If you did it when you were a child, if you were an adult when you started this, then you would have still experienced this. It's that thing of just going at it for the sake of doing it, and that's really the crucial element around it, to get the very most bang for your buck out of this process. those are some things that I think are pretty crucial. And as I said, it has the potential to kickstart your motivation and your work ethic towards painting and getting armies done and so on. And that can be really beneficial, right? So yeah, so you've got that time, and that's going to hopefully get this done, because you will come at the end of that and go, wow, I really enjoyed that. It might be a unique model that you just always wanted to paint. That's always a good choice as well, something that's completely different, like a 3D print. You could always go on the Blighter Gods website, a bit of shameless promotion there, and like download my free STL, and you can paint that up maybe, or whatever miniature you got. It might be an Infinity model, or a creature caster miniature that you had sitting in the back there forever, or whatever. It doesn't have to be for anything, just something that you like, and you paint it up, right? And that should hopefully get you where you want to be. As you're seeing me paint this Wight, it's been a pleasure doing it. I'm just going through all of those known practices and spending the time on it, and just enjoying that. And what you should come out with at the end is another miniature that's painted to add to your collection, slaying the grey and all that kind of thing. But now you should be ready to really explore what the next challenge is, because often what I find is when I'm doing one of these types of miniatures, I will actually start thinking about the next project and getting excited by it. That's something that does actually occur, because you're just sitting back and you're essentially in a state of play. Okay, and motivational speakers and all kinds of speakers on creativity and all kinds of productivity kind of speakers will talk about this, about being in a state of play. This is an actionable state as well. It's kind of doing both, because you're actually doing the thing, but you're also leaving room to play because you're in a relaxed state and you're in allocated time for it. So it's actually doing a number of different really positive things for your hobby and your creativity generally, and your mind. Just from a meditative standpoint and all of that, it's going to be very, very positive all around. So that's one of those last little benefits, is that you might end up just starting to ruminate on the future project that you want to do, or you might stumble across a particular color that you like, and that then sparks you off in a whole new direction for your next project. And I find that often happens. That's when I get into it, and so I love doing these little models, and I highly recommend you going out and giving this a go. You probably already do it already. It's a pretty natural thing when you're getting a bit overwhelmed by a project. You just come off the back of a really big one, but you still want to do something. You don't want to do another big project, so you often do pick a small model or something that you're used to and do that. But now, like I've always talked about, now we're doing it with intention. We're knowing we're going to do this, and we're setting aside the time to do it, and then we're going to actually engage with this in a really fun, playful way. No stress, no other types of influences affecting us, no YouTube on, so you turn me off or whatever, or any other YouTube that you listen to, get rid of all of that, and just relax. This could even be something that you do with friends. So maybe one last note is this can be done with friends also. So you could do a group session. That's very, very cathartic. Get all your mates together that you haven't seen in a long time, and you all sit around and do something simple. You'll often do that if you go to a mate's house and paint. If you haven't done it before, you won't pick a big project to take with you. You take a little thing that you're going to just do a little bit of painting on, and try to finish something in that time. So that's another last way that you can further extend the enjoyment of this process, is actually do it with others that are also doing a similar thing, and just hang out, enjoy your hobby, enjoy chatting with your mates, or your friends, whatever, and just have a good time. That could be at a club, at a friend's house, at a shop, wherever you're going to do it. But that's another way of getting this little tiny project done. Do it over a couple of sessions, and then there you are, and you'll probably feel a lot better about everything that you're doing. So I hope this has helped. Let's now take a look at my my Wight and see how I've gone at completing this little project, and we'll see what my thoughts are at the end. And there we have it, my thoughts on palette cleansing projects, or reset for your future next project. So let's take a look and see how I've gone. So these Wights, Undead are just my comfort food, right? So all these color schemes I'm used to, it's always fun painting them. And while I was doing this, I was thinking about my future projects, my own sculpts that I'll be bringing out soon, the prints that I release, and think about their color schemes and all that sort of thing, and really energizing me for the next project. And so I hope you do give this a go and try to have a shot at taking that time for yourself and just painting up a little figure that makes you happy, right? So you know, that's basically the point of all this. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll leave an overview with a better photograph of this guy if you really like it, but otherwise that's about it. Please hit the like button, subscribe button if you have, and I guess I'll catch you on the next one.